Happy New Year to you all out there in Cougar Nation. A lot to get to ahead on today's show. Going to be joined once again by Connor Pay. We'll talk a little bit about what the new year holds for him in the BYU football program. We're also getting your guys' questions. A number of you had great, interesting questions for Connor about the future, what he likes to do off the field. We'll get to all of that on Locked On Cougars.
You are Locked On Cougars, your daily podcast on the BYU Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on Locked On Cougars, a resident BYU insider. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day, and appreciate all of you for being everydayers with us right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Want to remind you guys, if you're just checking us out for the very first time, potentially, we are your original daily podcast focused on all things BYU sports. Been doing this on a daily basis for 5.5 years now. Crazy to think, but having a ton of fun along the way. And pleased to welcome in now a BYU team captain and all around a good guy, Connor Pay. Connor, thanks for taking the time. Happy New Year to you. And I want to start off here by asking you how your holiday season has been and how the New Year is treating you so far.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Lots of family time, which is the best part. And, even though we had some required workouts and stuff in December, I live right here close to BYU, so I was able to still spend quite a bit of time the entire holiday season with my family. So that's really the best part about the holiday season for me is just, our family's growing and, my cousins and all that, everyone's getting older, getting married, having kids. It's getting harder and harder to get everybody together. And so you got to kind of cherish and take advantage of the times where everyone does get together. And for our family, Christmas is one of those times.
I've got to ask you, because we had about 4 different people ask me, Caleb Etienne spent Christmas with your family. You said you were going to make him be a part of the nativity scene. And everybody was wondering, okay, where do you find a spot for Caleb in the nativity? Because he's such a big human being, and he's just a huge human being. We have something that fit him to fit in the nativity as well, was the other question.
We did find something. He was the innkeeper.
Okay.
So when Mary and Joseph come walking down, they knock on the door to the end. He's the one that opened the door and told them they had no room. So it was good. We found a spot for him. It was awesome.
Well, there's no room because Caleb Etienne will fill up that entire door frame.
No room to walk in the door.
No doubt. I just wanted to get that one out of the way because I know we had a couple of people wondering about that. And obviously, it's good to hear that the holiday season's been treating you well. Oh, there we go. If you're watching this on YouTube, that is quite the shot. Is that like an amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat replica?
I think that's exactly what it is. We just have this giant bin filled with nativity crap, and you just grab whatever out of that thing. Caleb would be pissed that I showed that picture. But
there are going to be thousands of Cougar fans who have now seen that. I
know. And now I'm sure I'll post it on his birthday or something.
Caleb Etienne can now be innkeeper for the nativity with that outfit, and also can play Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat if you need him to.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think that's exactly where that little thing was from.
Well, he's versatile. We like the versatility. There's no doubt.
He is. It was awesome. It was fun having him here.
No doubt. I also wanted to ask you, just kind of with New Year here, 2024, a lot of people making their New Year's resolutions, goals for the next year. I want to get kind of your thought on how do you guys as a team, speaking of BYU, we'll get to you here individually here in a moment, but as a team, how do you guys go about setting your goals? Is it something you guys will sit down here in January and it'll be overarching themes for the entire year, or how will you guys approach that as a program?
Yeah, there'll definitely be some overarching goals, some similar ones that really don't change very much from year to year. They're kind of on the side of the wall in the team room, and they kind of have always been there. And it'll be protect Lavelle's house, is one, win the rivalries, the Big 12 championship, New Year's Six Bowl, those types of things that are pretty similar. Everyone kind of has those types of goals. in college football. And if that's not what you're going for, then there's no reason to play. But as far as team specific goals for that season, we'll handle that when we get back to workouts on Monday, and when the whole team's back for the mandatory stuff from now until spring ball starts. And we'll just handle it in a players meeting and get together and see what we want to accomplish from now in January until the end of February, when spring ball is going to start. And so then we'll do that process again when spring ball starts, see what we want to accomplish during spring ball. Then again, after spring ball ends for the summer months, and then the season starts. So.
All right. Well, it sounds like a pretty thorough process, honestly. I also wanted to ask you individually, do you sit down? Are you a guy who does New Year's resolutions? Do you have things you'd like to accomplish that you've written down? How do you approach things like this?
I don't put a ton of emphasis on, setting new goals for this year. Like I have my goals for my life.
Yeah.
And the things I want to do. And, it's kind of more of a time of kind of more reflection for me, where, it's like, okay, I know what my goals are. And especially now that I'm returning to BYU for another season, a lot of those goals remain similar to last year, but kind of looking back and see where I went right and where I went wrong. And so like I have my goals, but I like to focus on, actual things that I can do to accomplish those goals. That's where I spend most of my time. Because you can spend all day setting goals and end up accomplishing nothing. And so just in terms of dialing in where I want to be physically in these next few weeks and stuff like that, but a lot of it is, I have my overall goals of things I want to achieve. But I don't really set goals past a few days, weeks. It's like, cause that end goal doesn't matter unless you're focused on what you want to accomplish today.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And that actually brings me to our first listener question, because it relates to this. And it comes from a listener of ours by the name of Jake. So he's got a great name, obviously. But Jake asked this question. Connor says, what feedback has he gotten from the NFL that he is going to work on most notably this coming year?
Yeah, I've gotten some good stuff from the NFL. And, a lot of it was, not surprising. And in the sense of, they like my feet and my hands, especially in the passing game, in the pass protection game. I think that's something that I've excelled at in my career at BYU. And, there's some, more movement off the ball in the run game, and, finishing at the second level a little better are definitely areas that need to improve. And I think my hands in the run game need to improve as well. And so those are kind of the main feedback points that I've gotten that are pretty on par with how I felt, with how the season went. So, but it was good feedback to get from them, and it gave me good things for me and Coach Woods to focus on.
All right, we'll get to more of these questions here in a moment, get some more of Connor's thoughts on the season ahead and what he's expecting to do. Some other good questions about what also he likes to do and what he'll be doing with his downtime in the offseason as well. We'll get to all that as we continue on right here on Locked On Cougars. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What is the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. And that's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and, more importantly, doing it for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. It's a vast network of more than 8 billion, yes, that's a B, billion professionals, which is the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified quality candidate. So easy. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Small businesses are rating LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus their leading competitors. And they also know that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire adequately. So they thankfully with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy, making it as simple as possible for you as a small business owner. Post your job for free today at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen. They want to remind you guys that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel right now. All right, continuing on now with Connor Pay, team captain for BYU. Connor, I had a couple other questions that have come in here. We'll start off with this one. I think this one kind of relates to what we were just talking about with regards to what you're looking to do in the future, obviously this season and your final season as a Cougar. He asked, this comes from Danny. I would like to know Connor's opinion on the new staff coming in. And there was a related question to this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I apologize. I had them all kind of jumbled there. But there was another question that also asked, oh, there we go. Chris, can you ask Connor if he has any additional perspective on TJ Wood since his last podcast? Be great to hear if he's learned anything else about Coach Wood. So fire away.
Yeah, no, really fired up about the staff and who we have, and we'll see who ends up filling the role for the tight ends. But as far as Coach Woods goes, it's it's been awesome, even just in the few weeks that since he's been here. Obviously he was here for a little bit and then went home for the holidays with his family to help. Obviously he's got to help his wife and kids pack up and move.
Yeah.
And then he'll actually be getting here full time, I think, tomorrow. And so, but I've had multiple chances to meet with him now and, get field work in with him already and do some of those things. And we're going to do a lot of, film and playbook work over the next 2 or 3 days. It's just, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, just after working with him now is just intensity. He's very intense if everything he's doing, and he's very intentional and focused. And, he's very detail oriented. Like we spent work on the field, doing some bag work in the run game, and we didn't get past my first step for like 15 minutes, just talking about those details and which for me as a player, I love and feel like that's what I needed. He's very hands-on, he's texting us, he's calling, just wants to hear how we're doing and wants to get started. He's just as fired up to be here and play football as we are. And it's been pretty awesome.
All right. Related question that comes from Matthew says, what will the offensive line's competitive advantage be this year in Connor's opinion?
I think, in terms of what our identity as an offensive line is going to be, and in turn, I think will become our competitive advantage. I think that's something that is developed. You don't necessarily just know just by looking at an O-line what they're going to be like, if nastiness and physicality is just going to be what they hang their hat on, or if athleticism is going to be what they hang their hat on, getting out and running, which is all traits, obviously, that you want to have. So I think as we go through spring ball, I think it'll start to take shape of what this group is great at. Obviously we got to work on developing those traits, of being physical, being nasty, finishing blocks, knowing where you're supposed to go, like just working on things like that. And that's how you kind of help develop a competitive advantage, and so I think that'll take shape as we go through spring ball and see how this this mixture of offensive linemen, how they gel together and what they're good at. So.
All right. So Weston asked this question. What nickname does the offensive line have for Coach Woods, if any, yet?
Oh, I don't know if we've spent enough time with him yet for a nickname. I think once we get through a few meetings with him, I think one will probably, take shape. But as of right now, we don't have one just because we haven't spent a ton of time with him as a whole group yet.
Okay, fair enough. Tyler Bergen asked this question. I actually think this is a good one because we are awaiting the release of the official dates of when you guys will play the 2024 season. You know who you're going to play this season, but we don't know the dates and all that. But Tyler asked this question. He said, can you ask Connor if there is a game that Connor has circled on a calendar for next year, and if there's a certain team he's most looking forward to taking on?
Well, I mean, obviously, the game I'm most excited for is the first one. Just because that's the next time I get to play football with my boys. So, but no, there's a lot of great games on that schedule. Obviously getting a chance to play Utah again is going to be a lot of fun. The Holy War is a blast, and it's been a blast, and it's going to, become bigger and bigger now that it's a conference game again, which I think is something that a lot of fans have wanted for a long time and are excited about, as ridiculous as the rivalry can be on Twitter. It's one of the, in my opinion, it is the best rivalry in college football. But the rivalry on the field, not with the fingertips. But so I'm really fired up for that game, and just the conference schedule. Getting a chance to play Kansas State will be fun. I hadn't had a chance to play them yet. Get another crack at some of the teams that got the best of us last year. And so then there's a lot of games to be fired up about on that schedule. So.
All right. John asked this question. Does he expect to play any snaps with his brother? Obviously, Trevor, your brother's on a mission currently. And he also added this, what is the team's mentality for the offseason? I think you've already kind of addressed the second part, but are you expecting to potentially play with your brother at all this season?
I mean, I would love to. That would be a dream come true. How realistic is it? For Trev coming right off a mission, for us to be on the field together, I'm not sure. Maybe I can try to finagle my way into that if it's the last snap of a game and we're taking a knee or something. See if Coach Woods will let that happen. But I'd love for it to happen. But Trev obviously coming in as a new guy, he's going to have to. I mean, you're as a freshman, you're bottom of the barrel. And so you gotta work your way up and work your way into that travel squad, into the 2 deep, and that's a tall task as a freshman, because there's usually 17, 18, 19 guys in a room, and you only travel 9 or 10, maybe 12 to home games, and so he'll have a tall task, but I'm gonna do everything I can to help him, obviously, and give him a little jump start on things, and I think Trev's really smart. And so I think, especially with, me helping him learn the offense, he'll pick that up really fast. And, we'll just see how long it takes for his body to catch up from serving a mission. So.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because you've lived this life. And I think a lot of people wonder, how difficult is the transition going away for 2 years on a mission and then coming back and trying to get back into playing shape and the like. Really, tell us about that process for you personally. How long did it really take for you to feel like, hey, I'm a football player again?
It's really hard. It's really difficult. I think for me, especially because I ended up being really the only freshman in that class, because at that time Campbell Barrington was gray shirting. And then the other freshman O-lineman that came in with me ended up quitting, and so I was the only one left. I was the only freshman around. And so, of course, all the coaches and all the other O-linemen had a heyday with that. But it's really hard because I got home the first week of June and was at workouts like 6 days later.
Okay.
Or 7 days later. And so it was kind of it was kind of a rude awakening. And that first day, I'll never forget that first day, just throwing up, pushing prowler sleds for 2 hours and just getting absolutely destroyed with the other freshmen. But that transition into actually playing football again is challenging. And I lost a little bit of weight on my mission, but not a ton. And so I think I was just, especially with like my build and just the way my body is, I was able to adapt a little quicker. And so after those really just 2 months of training into playing football again, physically, I felt pretty ready from like an injury perspective.
Okay.
Like I didn't feel like I was going to go out there and I was just going to freaking drop dead because I hadn't done anything and I was just going to get hurt on the first play.
Mm-hmm.
Like physically, was I ready? No, but I was ready to go out there and at least compete and stay healthy, which is what I was able to do. And, wiggled my way into the 2 deep somehow. And so, but that was a really tough transition. And I'll never forget, like because the bowl game is really the only game that I played significantly in. And I still remember a picture of me standing over the ball, IDing something, and we're in those all white jerseys, which is just a terrible look for offensive linemen. And I look so fat in that picture. It's ridiculous. I have just the biggest freaking belly, just because like that's the one thing is like it's not like I was in great shape yet. It's not like I had 6 months to strip my mission fat off and build all this muscle again. I kind of just was right into it and just kind of skipped that part a little bit just because I was playing already. And oh man, I look at that picture and I'm like, holy crap. But so I was really excited for that first off season, but it's a tough transition. It's not easy.
Well, hey, I can tell you this much. I know you. I think you know who Jake Caressa is, former BYU offensive lineman. He's got this nickname, and I think it's absolutely every offensive lineman should embrace it. Big Sexy. That was the nickname he liked to embrace. I think every offensive lineman should embrace that as much as possible. So, all right, we got a few more questions in the time remaining. We'll get to those. Some of them related to BYU football, a couple of them off topic as well. We'll get to all those with Connor coming up here in just a moment. Before we do that, I want to remind you guys that Locked On Cougars is available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you check it out, whether you're listening to this on YouTube or also on the podcast writers. It's available wherever you get your podcast. We'll talk more with Connor coming up here momentarily on Locked On Cougars. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at UCCU. Of course, UCCU is the mobile banking app. Part of it is called Learn and Earn. It's the feature that's paying your entire family to learn about money. All of us want to be smarter when it comes to our finances, and obviously we don't always have the right answers. Learn and Earn is breaking down financial topics into fun, bite-sized educational games using quizzes and trivia to make sure you guys are learning the lessons you should be learning. The best part is I've actually started doing it as part of my New Year's resolution was to be more active using it, and I got to say it's actually a really, really fun way to learn about money. Every time a family member completes a topic, you can earn points and accrue and be redeemed for gift cards to stores like Amazon, Apple, Sephora, Walmart, Nike, and many, many more. There's age-appropriate content for every member of the family. All can compete against one another and track your progress in leaderboards as well. It is available inside the UCCU mobile banking app, so you can play it anytime, anywhere. And of course, the more you play, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you earn. Learn and Earn, part of UCCU's award-winning Be Money Smart Youth Banking Program, helping kids, teens, and parents have fun while becoming more financially literate together. It's all courtesy of your friends at UCCU. Love where you bank. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars a part of your day, everybody. Want to remind you guys, if you've not done so already, make sure you sign up for our subtext community. All of our questions for Connor Pay today have come from our subtext subscribers. It's a great way to interact with the show. Simple as sending a text message to be a part of the show. And if you guys want to sign up, it's a 14-day free trial. You can be a part of it, and then it's $4.99 a month afterwards. You can sign up at the link in the show notes below this on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Enter your phone number, and you're off and rolling. It's a really been a fun thing. We've added in the past month or so, and encourage you guys, if you've not signed up already, give it a shot and join us on subtext. All right. A few moments here with Connor Pay here on today's show. And Connor, I got a great question that I think everybody's been waiting for you to address, and I was going to hold it till the very end. And at least two of our listeners asked this question, and they're related questions here. Chris asked this. about recruits he's previously mentioned and helping recruit guys. What is the status of that? And then Greg Evans says this: simply ask him and be very specific. Will we see any players joining BYU from the transfer portal? Fire away.
Yeah, no, recruiting's been going good. I've had the chance to host a number of visits over the last, couple of weeks for some pretty good players. And, I'm not, just out of respect for them, I'm not going to name any names, obviously just because they haven't made their decisions yet. But yeah, I would expect a couple that will probably come to light here pretty soon, whenever, whatever timeline they're on, or when they decide to make it public. So, but yeah, I would expect a few. We were able to retain a good number of guys, and so it probably won't be the influx that it was last year, where it was like almost 30 guys from the portal. It was pretty crazy. I wouldn't expect anything like that, but yeah, there'll be a few for sure.
All right, I'll ask a related question to that. How different are visits in the transfer portal cycle for guys versus official visits with high school and junior college guys?
They're a little bit different. I think more like the high school guys, they want to go do all the photo shoots, do all that stuff, do all the fun things, where it's like the portal guys are a little more seasoned in terms of what they know about college football and what they want. And so it's usually those are a little more focused. The portal guys, it might be more like meeting with a coach to talk scheme and philosophy, for a few hours, whereas the high school kids will go out and do something fun and do their photo shoots and go ride the snowmobiles and do all that stuff. Where it's like the portal kids, like they're trying to, well, I mean, it's a two-way street. They're trying to find like a scheme that they fit in well. And likewise, we're trying to find people that we feel like will fit well with us. And so that's where the portal is kind of interesting. It's kind of where, there'll be mutual agreements where it's like, hey, I think I'd be a good fit here. Great. We do too. If you want to come. And then there's other times where it's like, you know what? I don't know if this person will be a good fit for our program. And you kind of just cool off a little bit, and vice versa. If they come and they don't feel like they fit well, and it's like, all right, well, thank you guys. It's been great. But I think, my talents are better served elsewhere. And so it's interesting. It's really interesting in the transfer portal, because and I've noticed that the portal kids, are asking a lot more questions, to me about, what school's like, life after football, specific coaches, what the scheme is like. And so it's a little more detailed with the portal kids, where the high school kids just haven't experienced that stuff yet. And so now that I'm an older player, they tend to ask me to host portal players more than the high school kids. Usually the younger kids will help with portal guys, just because they can, relate to them a little bit more, and take them out and go have fun, where, it's like I'm not really the type that wants to go hang out with a 16-year-old and go drive them around Provo, and so, but no, it's been good. But it's interesting. They are very different.
All right, so a couple more questions here. Marlon asked this question: I'd love to hear Connor's thoughts on run versus pass blocking. I think you addressed that a little bit earlier on, but more importantly, can you ask him about man blocking versus zone blocking concepts, and which, if any, he prefers?
I prefer both, because I think both have their advantages and their disadvantages. And in the way the schemes are run, there's often times that a zone scheme, because of what the defense was, looks almost identical to a man scheme or a gap scheme,
Okay.
and vice versa. Where it's like, unless you truly know the play call, you don't really know what we're running. And as much as Twitter thinks they do. But it's but I think there are definitely advantages to both. I think those zone schemes, they give you a lot of options in terms of what you can do with the football. A lot of the RPO game and the option game that you've seen us run, that comes off of zone schemes a lot. And we do it with gap and man schemes too, but it's just a little easier to do that, I think, with zone, but also just the downhill nature of a gap scheme, like a duo or a power or a counter, I think is also something that, we did more of later on in the season. And, I really enjoy running those schemes too, because you kind of can just sink into the guy in front of you and get movement off the ball. There's not as much kind of stuff you have to handle.
Yeah.
And so, I think they all have their pros and cons.
All right. And let me ask this question. It's two fun ones to get you out of here on this. Ben asked this question. With all the hype about cold plunges and cold showers going around, can you ask Connor if he does either of those? And if so, how long and how often after his workouts?
Yeah, I do those all the time. All the time. I think cold tubbing is really important. And I don't do much of, maybe I should, but I don't do much of the cold plunging where it's like 2 or 3 minutes in the morning. It's usually a post-workout thing for me. But I am a big fan of the cold showers in the morning. So maybe that's a form of cold plunge, I guess, just not quite as cold and for a little bit longer. But no, I think there's definitely some reality, and obviously the research has been done on kind of the cold shock proteins and things like that get released into your body that are really helpful. And it definitely helps me, with post-workout lactic acid buildup and things like that. And I love to contrast. I think that pushes out lactic acid the best for me, going 2 or 3 minutes in the cold tub, 2 or 3 in the hot tub, and just jumping back and forth for 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, no, I enjoy them both. And, I don't know if I'd say I swear by them, but I do them all the time. So
I can do the cold tub thing, the cold shower thing. I've not been able to adapt to it yet in my life. So
once you put your head under the water, it's fine.
I've tried, Connor. I just can't. For whatever reason, it's not my thing. So
hey, that's all right. That's all right.
Last one comes from Jimmy, who gets the final word here. Connor, if you could be a drummer in any world famous rock band, which band would it be?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. Okay, I have a top 3.
Okay.
I think, if that's fair.
That's fine. Yeah.
And I would never in a million years be able to actually pull off any of these. I just want to put that disclaimer out right now.
Okay.
I like to drum for fun. I can play. I'm pretty good, but I'm not great.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about starting a drum YouTube channel and releasing covers. So maybe people will get a see here soon. I'm not sure. I'm kind of scared, but we'll see. Maybe the people can let me know in the comments if that's something they even care about. But I would say I would love to play in Rush.
Okay.
That would be a crazy band to play in. I guess there's really 4. Gosh dang it. I keep thinking of I would say Rush, Dream Theater, Slipknot, or Metallica.
Wow, you have picked some bands that've got some incredible drummers and some
exactly
solos, no less.
Yeah. So don't associate me with that at all. But like those are the bands that I love. So
all right. Well, hey, drum.
There it is. So there it is. Do what you want with that information. But
Covers with Connor. There we go. That's your new YouTube channel. Covers with Connor.
I don't know. I have all the recording equipment and I know how to mix my own drums and stuff now. And I've made a few.
Okay.
Just for myself, just to see if I could do it and kind of get used to it. But whether or not to make them public is what I'm debating right now. We'll see.
All right, people, you know what to do. Hop in the comments, hop on social media, tell Connor you want to see him drumming, and we'll see what we can do to get that going. But Connor, thanks for carving out some time during your downtime. Best of luck with winter workouts. We'll catch up with you again soon. Maybe we'll do this like kind of throughout the offseason periodically. We'll do like a mailbag podcast with you. People can ask questions, and you can Well, we're trying to say you can be a philosopher, as it were, and answer the questions as best you can.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if people like to listen to my dumbass talk, then we can.
People love it, man. So we'll keep it going. But Connor, thanks for the time, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you.
All right, that's Connor Pay. A big thank you to him for taking the time, as always, to join us right here on Locked On Cougars. Want to thank all y'all once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen today. And thank you to all of you who are everydayers as well. We'll be back tomorrow with more on BYU sports, football, basketball, and everything in between. Once again, this has been the Locked On Cougars podcast.